For the past several months, I have been promising you goblins. Well, now they are upon us. Well, almost upon us. All for One will be concluding their season with The Princess and the Goblin coming up the last 2 weekends of April. And I hope everybody goes to see it. Not just because maybe just because I'm involved, but there are other good reasons to see it as well. Anyway, I'm Scott Kump, and today on Life in Faith, Indiana, I'm speaking with Lauren Nichols of All for One Productions. Thank you for joining us again today, Lauren.
You're so welcome, Scott. My favorite goblin.
So The Princess and the Goblin, that's coming up. And yes, I am in the cast and involved behind the scenes.
You are involved in numerous ways. My multi-talented friend here has
thank you.
got quite a lot to do in this, including staging an truly epic comedic battle between knights and goblins. We are having almost too much fun in rehearsal.
Drawing on my vast knowledge of cartoons.
Yes, he's channeling his inner Looney Tune, I've been saying.
And I should mention also Bot Radio Network's own Stephen Manning is also in the cast.
Yes, he is.
Actually, the first play that Stephen and I have been in together, we've seen each other perform. So, yeah, there's a lot of Bot Radio Network bias toward this. But first of all, let's nail down the dates.
Yes, it opens on Friday, April 22nd, and runs through Sunday, May 1st. Runs Friday and Saturday evenings at 7:30 and Sundays at 2:30. And you can get tickets by going to our website, allfor1fw.org.
And typically, the doors open about a half hour before the show starts?
Yeah, doors open at 7. It's unreserved seating. And this show I am quite sure it's going to sell well. I would get your tickets soon. Group ticket rates are very, very reasonable. This is a great show for the entire family because it has enough color and movement and delight and a simple story for the youngest children. If you've got a child who can sit still for an hour, they can watch the show. But it has enough depth and spiritual undercurrents to appeal to the most mature among us. So this is truly an all-ages play.
Yes, and lots of kids in it. I mean, plenty of adults too, but lots of kids in it.
This is our biggest cast show we've done in quite a while. There's 17 in the cast.
And when you're talking about the age range for the audience, we performed this once before, and your granddaughter, who was three at the time, saw it, and now she's in it.
And now she's in it. She's one of the goblins. That's was on her bucket list. And not to be the princess, but to be a goblin.
And your retired husband, Dennis.
He's reprising his role as Sir Walter, the captain of the King's Guard.
So there's the full age range in the cast.
Right there. That's right.
In addition to, this is, I think, is going to appeal for all ages. This is not a new story. This was written over 100 years ago.
Yes, I think he published this in 1872, I believe. George MacDonald was a very well-known and much-loved writer in the Victorian era. He was a pastor and
was a Scotsman.
Certainly a Scotsman. He was plagued by lifelong ill health. He was tubercular.
I didn't know that.
And that's why he left his pastorate. Physically, the duties were too demanding, but he had great facility as a writer. And he wrote, oh my goodness, probably several dozen general novels that we would put in the romance category, but with a very pronounced, overt Christian element. And those, some people may remember, were republished in the 1980s, kind of reworked and edited for a modern audience. But he also wrote these beautiful fantasy novels, a couple for adults that are a bit more obscure and some for children.
And Princess and the Goblin, I think, is one of his best known.
It is, absolutely. That and At the Back of the North Wind is one that you often see in like children's literature lists. But it was one of his obscure adult fantasies, one called Fantastes, that caught the eye of a very young atheist, C.S. Lewis. And he credited it all his life with being the novel that started to open him up to the idea of a spiritual realm. It somehow plowed the soil of his soul for eventual acceptance of the gospel when he was a professor at Oxford. And he credited George MacDonald with being one of the mentor that he never met, that it was a great influence on his spiritual life.
And I think that in Lewis's novel, The Great Divorce,
George MacDonald is a character.
Yeah,
yes.
The narrator ends up actually a lengthy conversation with him, as I recall. It's been a while since I've read that.
And Lewis prepared a very nice little anthology of George MacDonald. It's very short snippets of all of his writing, arranged for every day of the year with a nice long introduction that includes a biographical sketch.
So The Princess and the Goblin is one of MacDonald's more lighthearted children's works,
and
but
yet,
there's still deep meaning in there.
There is one character who, to some extent, represents the Holy Spirit. I don't know that he would want that to be thought of as an allegorical character, but certainly there is a spiritual connotation there. And the main underlying theme that I hope that children will grasp without having it to be heavy-handed is the idea of walking by faith and not by sight, believing in something that you can't see, and really even based on the outcome. One of the characters, Curdy, the heroic young miner, is rescued by Irene because she follows this thread which is invisible. And he has to wrestle with the fact that he sees the outcome, he knows that she rescued him, and he can't explain it. And can he believe in something he can't see?
And, that idea of faith in something that you can't see and people refusing to believe, even though they see the evidence, was something that later cropped up in C.S. Lewis works. I've seen it a couple times in the Narnia tales, particularly Prince Caspian. And you wonder, where did he get some of those ideas besides the Bible itself?
Right.
Well, I think some of it may have been inspired by George MacDonald.
Yes, because those creative retellings of scriptural truth is a way to get people who are not going to read the Bible, or they think that they know what's there. And so they think there's nothing there for them. But just like the young Lewis read George MacDonald, people today may read Narnia, they may read The Princess and the Goblin, or come and see a play version of it and have the Holy Spirit start to work on them subtly and subconsciously to think about things that are universally true.
Well, so for the staging of The Princess and the Goblin, a few other details I want to make sure people understand. There's going to be plenty of music, a little bit of singing, not a lot, but a little bit.
Tiny bit.
Some dancing.
Dancing and puppets.
And a big battle scene. And the other fun thing or interesting thing is we're doing what's called alley staging.
Yes. That means that the stage will literally be right down the middle of the room, and the audience will sit on two sides facing one another. It's going to allow for the maximum of audience, not participation so much, but it's a show that the actors will really be within feet of the audience. And it also allows us to have entrances from 4 different directions, and it feels much more an immersive experience.
Yes. And some of the cast may be looking directly at the audience and narrating and trying to engage you a little bit. But yeah, there's lots of fun. And that is at I can't remember if we mentioned.
the Arts Lab Black Box Theater at 300 East Main Street.
That's across the street from the Performing Arts Center.
And the Arts Museum, right.
And again, if they want tickets.
They can go to our website, ALLFORONEFW, allforonefw.org.
And again, group rates are available, and particularly you want to get it in advance where I'm telling everybody I know about it. We've got a big cast, a lot of kids. That means a lot of parents, a lot of family members want to come.
Yes.
If you want to get in on this, you got to do it soon.
Absolutely. And it runs April 22nd through May 1st.
And then, as if that's not enough,
but wait, there's more.
Immediately following, we have what we've been telling you about all season, the Young Playwrights Festival.
Yes, we have recently announced the 8 winners. There's a first place and a runner-up in each of 4 age divisions from kindergarten through 12th grade. And those 8 plays are going to be staged in the same theater on Friday, May 6th in the evening, and during the day on Saturday, May 7th. I believe
so it's 4 each day?
I think the idea is to put the elementary plays on Friday night and the high school plays on Saturday, but don't quote me on that because I am not the education coordinator. But I know that they've just recently finished casting and they're in rehearsal now. So there's a Young Playwrights tab on the website. You can also go and find out all that information there.
Okay, so yeah, opportunity to go see 2 different great things, all on the website, which again is
allforonefw.org.
Now, as we mentioned, The Princess and the Goblin is your final show
of this
season,
yes.
Which means you're already looking forward to next season.
Oh, we sure are.
And we are not yet going to reveal what those shows are.
We haven't officially announced yet.
A great way to find out is to come to The Princess and the Goblin because it's always, the last show of the season always has in the program the 4 shows for the following season.
Right.
But one of the things that we can tell you is that for the first two plays of the, I guess it'd be the
22-23.
22-23 season, the auditions are probably going to be in May?
Quite likely, yes. We have a guest director. Actually, Tricia, our education coordinator, is also going to be directing the opening show of next season, and that will also be an all-ages show based on a famous piece of children's literature. I know that there's one juvenile in the cast, and
that would be performed in September.
Yes, and it will be rehearsed starting in July. So we'll be auditioning that in May, and then the November show, which is always our holiday piece, is a lovely feel-good piece for Christmas, and it requires a little bit of singing. There are a couple of carols sung in 4-part harmony, and that I'm sure I will also be auditioning in May, just to know that we have that ensemble. I think there are 10 adults in that cast. I should also mention, just FYI, this will be our 30th anniversary season.
Wow.
Yeah. All for One was founded in 1992.
Yeah, and you and your husband Dennis were among the founders.
The 5 original, and here I am.
Last one standing.
Yep.
Although Dennis is still involved.
Well, Dennis is still standing.
But yes, so all of that's coming up. And once you have announced this publicly, the titles of those plays for next year will also be on the website.
Yes, and the audition tab will be live, and you'll be able to get more information that way. Another great way to know what's going on with us is to go to the What's Up Fort Wayne magazine website or pick up a copy of their paper. They're really great about keeping up to date all of our upcoming shows.
And you have a mailing list, too.
And we do. You could go to our website and just ask to be on the mailing list, and you'll get those updates as well.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm giving away too much if I mention that one of the shows for next season will be one that you've done before.
Yes, that's right. Our closer will be one that we did 10 years ago.
Which also ties into, usually, in addition to having an all-ages show each season, you have one that is more overtly...
Yes, overtly sacred themes.
Okay, so... We've teased you a bit and given you hints. Again, I think the quickest way to find out is going to be to come to The Princess and the Goblin. And while you're there, if you're not already on the mailing list, you usually have a card in the program.
We always have a response card.
But it is just going to be, I mean, the kids in this show are delightful. And, we've just been having so much fun already. And we're in early rehearsals as we record this.
Yes.
So there's a lot more fun to come. And we want everybody to experience that. So let's remind people of the dates of The Princess and the Goblin.
Yes, it's April 22nd through May 1st at the PPG Arts Lab at 300 East Main Street. And you can get tickets by going to our website, allfor1fw.org.
And that'll be a Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon.
2 weekends.
Both weekends. Mm-hmm. So we hope to see everybody there. Lauren Nichols of All for One Productions, I will see you next season. Well, I'll see you.
You'll see me very soon. Thanks, Scott.